Is it possible that a single name, one individual, could make the heart of the United States music industry beat uneasily, prompt economists to exchange anxious glances, and force major label executives to quietly recalculate a power map they had considered settled for decades? The question sounds exaggerated, almost conspiratorial, even emotional. Yet that is precisely where the shock lies. Because when the name Jungkook enters this context, the reaction is no longer mere admiration or artistic praise, but something far deeper: structural unease. A fear never spoken aloud, but felt in every economic report, every market analysis, and every comparison that is beginning to feel unfair to the West. At first, everything looked like a typical success story. BTS, the K-pop group from South Korea, returned from a long hiatus due to mandatory military service. The world welcomed them, the media wrote their headlines, fans cheered. But behind the euphoria, the data began to speak in a tone that could not be ignored. BTS's world tour, set to begin in the United States, is not merely a series of concerts. It is a massive economic engine, projected to generate tens of billions of dollars in economic activity. These figures are not fandom rumors, but calculations from economists accustomed to reading the entertainment industry through a cold, rational lens. When comparisons to Taylor Swift's era's tour emerged, a tour that generated roughly $5 billion in direct consumer spending, a dangerous question surfaced. What if the economic dominance of global music is no longer centered in the West? This is where Jungkook stands, not only as a member of BTS, but as a symbol. He is not merely a main vocalist or a popular face. Jungkook has become a representation of a new generation of cultural power, where music no longer exists solely as entertainment, but as a catalyst for human movement across borders, cultures, and economic systems. BTS fans, ARMY, do not behave like typical concert consumers. They plan their lives around a single date, a single city, a single stage. Leslie Huynh, a fan in the United States, has already booked flights and hotels to attend concerts in 11 cities, with estimated spending reaching $6,000, even though tickets have not yet gone on sale. In classical economic logic, this is an anomaly. In the logic of the US entertainment industry, it is an alarm. What makes this phenomenon different? And why does Jungkook's name appear so frequently in internal discussions within the American music industry? The answer lies in the scale and depth of its impact. Tourism experts note that BTS fans are far more willing to travel internationally than fans of Western artists. This is not merely about loyalty, but about identity. A BTS concert is not just a music event. It is a global meeting point. Kaylee Morella, for example, designed a cross-city, cross-country travel itinerary just to attend 6 shows in 3 different cities, while meeting international friends she first connected with through the fandom. In this context, Jungkook does not simply attract listeners, he mobilizes people. Marketing professor Timothy Calkins of Northwestern University has called the BTS tour the event of the year, even predicting that each stop will trigger surges in tourism, hotel occupancy, and economic activity that could surpass what Taylor Swift has achieved. The statement sounds provocative, almost a challenge to the status quo. Yet this is precisely where the tension becomes palpable. The US music industry has long been accustomed to serving as the global center of gravity. Now it must confront the reality that this center is beginning to shift, and Jungkook sits at the epicenter. The fear within the American music industry is not simply fear of losing chart battles. It is fear of systemic change. BTS's previous tour, Permission to Dance in 2021, generated over $100 million in Los Angeles alone. The upcoming tour, planned to span 79 shows across multiple continents, is predicted to multiply that figure. Some analyses even suggest potential ticket sales reaching $1 billion, with overall economic impact amounting to trillions of Korean won. These numbers are not just statistics, they are evidence that Asian cultural economic power can now stand alongside, if not surpass, Western entertainment icons. Yet beneath all of this lies another layer that makes Jungkook's name particularly unsettling for the US industry. The Korean boom accelerated by BTS does not stop at music. Imports of Korean beauty products into the United States have increased by as much as 34% over the past year. Small businesses, fashion brands, and even the tourism sector have adjusted in response. Economics professor Jae-rim Choi of Yonsei University emphasizes that this is not a short-term gain, but a long-term expansion of Korea's consumer market. In other words, this is a shift in culture-based economic power, and Jungkook, with his extraordinary individual popularity, has become the most recognizable face of that transformation. Of course, not everyone welcomes this phenomenon without criticism. Some voices question whether adding too many venues in the United States could actually erode profit margins, given the enormous production costs and crew salaries involved. These debates play out in online forums, but they ultimately highlight one crucial point. BTS, and Jungkook in particular, are now treated as serious economic entities, not merely artists. They are analyzed, debated, and calculated in ways usually reserved for multinational corporations. Here lies the greatest surprise. Jungkook has never explicitly challenged the American music industry. He has not issued a manifesto, nor declared a revolution. Yet through music, fandom, and undeniable economic impact, he has posed a question far more unsettling than any direct provocation. What if the world no longer needs the old centers to decide who holds power? That question echoes through major label boardrooms, economists' offices, and behind the scenes of entertainment media. And while the public celebrates BTS's return as a global music festival, the American music industry must quietly confront the reality that its greatest fear may not be losing market share, but losing its long-held definition of dominance. If the fear of the United States music industry could take a tangible form, it would not appear as an angry face or a defensive statement in the media, but as an ever-growing sheet of data, charts climbing too fast, projections too large, and variables no longer controllable by old formulas. This is where Jungkook begins to shift from a mere cultural phenomenon into an economic anomaly. Not because he intends to disrupt the system, but because the system itself was never designed to handle a force like him. Entertainment economists are used to relatively stable patterns. Major artists create spikes in consumption, then charts level off. Large tours have local effects, then the economy returns to normal. But what happens with BTS, and especially Jungkook as the central figure, defies this logic. The impact does not disappear when the stage lights go out. It spreads, takes root, and reproduces across sectors previously not considered part of the music industry. This is the point at which the American industry begins to feel uneasy. Something uncontrollable is far more frightening than a predictable competitor. BTS's upcoming tour, beginning in Tampa, Florida on April 15th, is not just an entertainment event, but a massive economic experiment. City by city across the United States, preparations are underway for waves of international fans arriving not as ordinary tourists, but as a global community with a singular purpose. Hotels brace for occupancy spikes, airlines observe unusual booking patterns, and local retail adjusts inventory. All of this happens even before a single ticket is officially sold. For the US music industry, this is a signal too significant to ignore. Demand exists before the product even hits the market. Industry observers have begun to recognize that ARMY is not a passive fan base. They are active economic agents. They plan cross-country trips, coordinate accommodations, buy merchandise in large volumes, and even drive local consumption trends. In a single city, one concert can mean increased revenue for restaurants, transportation, and small businesses previously unconnected to music. Fashion brands like Ordinary Affair openly launch new products to leverage BTS's comeback hype. This phenomenon demonstrates that Jungkook and BTS's impact does not stop at the music industry. It seeps into the broader economic ecosystem. Yet herein lies the irony. The US music industry, historically the world's largest exporter of culture, now finds itself on the receiving end of impact. The Korean boom accelerated by BTS has increased imports of Korean beauty products by 34% in the past year. This is not merely a lifestyle trend, but a shift in consumer preference. Professor Jae-rim Choi emphasizes that this change is structural and long-term. American consumers are not only enjoying Korean music, they are adopting Korean culture as part of their identity. Within the framework of cultural geopolitics, this is a major shift, and Jungkook is the face most frequently appearing on screens. The fear of the US music industry is not always expressed openly. It appears in defensive comparisons, narratives attempting to rationalize the phenomenon as a temporary trend, or critiques regarding production costs and profit margins. Some question whether adding too many US venues is strategically wise, considering the bulk of tour revenue must be allocated to lavish production and crew salaries. These critiques may sound rational, but beneath them lies anxiety. What if, even after all these costs, the impact still surpasses that of any Western tour? At this point, Jungkook becomes a symbol of uncertainty. He is not a threat due to aggression but because of emotional efficiency. He does not need to force people to attend. They come voluntarily, willingly sacrificing time, money, and distance. In behavioral economics, this is the hardest power to replicate. The US music industry can invest billions in promotion, but it cannot buy emotional attachment like this easily. And when emotional attachment converts into real economic activity, the fear becomes rational. What makes the situation even more complex is that Jungkook does not stand alone. He is part of BTS, a globally tested entity. Yet here lies the paradox. Jungkook's individual popularity strengthens BTS's collective appeal, and vice versa. This creates a multiplier effect that is difficult to break. Every new album, including the latest release Erarang, is not merely a music product but a cultural statement. The tour becomes a stage where music, economy, and identity intersect. The US music industry now stands at a crossroads. It can view this phenomenon as a threat or as a lesson in how the world has changed. But one thing it cannot do is ignore it. Jungkook has proven that the global cultural center of gravity is no longer singular. It can shift, layer, and be led by those capable of connecting emotion with economy. And as the data continues to confirm this, that fear transforms into a bitter awareness. The old rules are no longer sufficient. This illustrates that beneath the euphoria of concerts and fan cheers, a quiet but profound power shift is taking place. Jungkook is not merely filling stadiums. He is filling gaps in a global system long considered unshakable. And the question is no longer whether the US music industry is afraid, but how quickly they will realize that this fear is justified. If previously we spoke of fear and data as threats, it is now time to delve deeper. The real economic impact generated by Jungkook and BTS, which is causing the United States music industry, long considered the global king, to begin losing its footing. This phenomenon is not just about ticket numbers or streaming statistics. It is a culture-based economic revolution operating quietly yet so powerfully that it keeps economists and entertainment executives on high alert. The upcoming BTS tour, encompassing 79 shows across 34 regions and 5 continents, is projected to generate billions of dollars from ticket sales alone. Economists even predict that the overall impact could exceed trillions of Korean won, including tourism, hospitality, transportation, and local consumption. If Taylor Swift once triggered an economic wave with her $5 billion Eras tour, BTS and Jungkook are now generating a much larger and more multidimensional wave. No classical analysis can predict these ripple effects with precision. This is a new ecosystem where music, culture, and economy intertwine in unique patterns. What makes Jungkook so different from most Western artists is his ability to combine emotional power with tangible economic influence. ARMY, BTS's fanbase, do not just listen to music or attend concerts. They engage with the culture, buy merchandise, plan cross-city and even international trips, and spread this influence through their social circles. Leslie Huynh, who plans to attend 11 US concerts, is just one example of this phenomenon spreading globally. Every ARMY action becomes an economic input, from tickets and accommodations to transportation and local consumption, all directly tied to Jungkook as the central figure. In behavioral economic terms, this is the conversion of emotional loyalty into financial power, something extremely difficult for traditional music industry systems to replicate. The effect is also visible in other business sectors. Fashion brands like Ordinary Affair launch new products leveraging BTS comeback hype. Meanwhile, the Korean boom, the expansion of Korean culture, drives a 34% increase in Korean beauty imports into the US. Professor Jae-rim Choi emphasizes that this is not just short-term gain, but a long-term expansion of Korea's consumer market. In other words, Jungkook is not merely an artist. He is a catalyst for global economic and cultural change. This is entirely new territory for Western music industries, where artists have typically been seen as direct revenue generators for music or concerts, not as drivers of cross-border economic and consumer behavior shifts. Yet all of this does not come without risk. The US music industry is beginning to realize that facing Jungkook means confronting a system they cannot fully control. Large tours require extraordinary investment: stage production, crew salaries, international logistics, global promotion. Some critics argue that adding too many venues could erode profit margins. Yet paradoxically, even after all these costs, economic forecasts indicate the impact will still surpass that of any previous Western tour. The inability to control emotional variables, fan loyalty, cultural attachment, and global viral effects becomes a real source of fear for the established industry. This power is not theoretical. BTS's previous tour, Permission to Dance in 2021, generated over $100 million in Los Angeles alone. The upcoming tour is expected to multiply that figure. In each city, economic surges are seen in sectors not directly tied to music: hotels at full capacity, restaurants bustling, local stores thriving, airlines fully booked. ARMY even builds travel itineraries around concert schedules, arranging meetups with international fans. This is not just a concert, it is a global socio-economic phenomenon. Behind all the numbers and predictions emerges a daunting realization for the old industry. Jungkook and BTS are not merely artists or a fandom phenomenon. They symbolize a shift in global music industry power, where success is no longer measured solely by album sales or streaming numbers, but by the ability to mobilize people, culture, and money in a unified movement. This is a model that is hard to replicate, hard to control, and hard to predict, provoking a level of anxiety and vigilance previously unknown to Western music executives. What makes this even more dramatic is the fact that Jungkook does not need to proclaim this dominance. He does not demand a position, announce a strategy, or make an official declaration. He simply does what he masters: singing, dancing, and connecting with fans through music and persona. Yet the impact extends far beyond the stage or screen. In modern economic terms, Jungkook is a global stimulus. Every small action triggers waves that cross geographic and industry boundaries.